What's good, everyone? Coach D here with the Shift Method. Hope you are having another awesome day. Today I'm coming to you with a training video here. Basically going to show you a full body workout that you can do yourself at a gym if you're someone who's dealing with lower back pain. As you know, if you're someone who has had lower back pain before or you're currently dealing with it, it can be quite debilitating, man, where you feel like no matter what you do, it just keeps aggravating your back and it's very discouraging to want to work out in the gym. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a short warm-up to do, and then I'm going to give you 3 supersets, so 6 exercises in total that are going to be cautious and, of course, making sure that we're putting yourself in a good position to train your body, full body workout, and still make your lower back feel good, and actually find ways to strengthen it so that it feels better over time. And of course, if y'all enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Let's go ahead and jump into the workout. All right, so for a warm-up, it's gonna be quick, but it's going to be effective for, of course, your full body getting ready and, of course, doing some mobility and strengthening for the lower back. It should only take about 5 minutes here. We're gonna do 1 movement to kind of get your heart rate up and your breathing up. We're gonna be on the treadmill for 2 minutes. Then we're gonna do 2 activation drills for the muscles and 2 mobility drills to kind of get your joints nice and loose. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, of course, really the best way to do any kind of treadmill work, any kind of cardio work, is you gotta have little companion with you here. This is Chi-Chi, by the way. Chi-Chi here is giving me a little bit of assistance here while I warm up. We're doing 2 minutes on the treadmill here. Just kind of a casual pace here, right? Trying to get the heart rate and breathing up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and jump into our warm up with some strength and some mobility work here. All right, and of course, we got a little bit of shoulder work here, so I want to make sure I show the shoulder some love. So we're gonna do some I's, Y's, and T's. This one I'm gonna do upright instead of in the traditional hinged position. So basically I, Y, T, if you don't know, you're just gonna draw the letters, keeping the elbows relatively straight, going to eye level for I, a little bit out to the side for Y, and then all the way out like a lateral raise for a T. We're gonna do 5 each here, nice and controlled on the way down. All right, now for our first activation exercise, we're gonna do an assisted squat. So for this one, anything that's about chest height is gonna be good for you. Being about a foot away from it, I'm gonna get my feet flat, hips just outside shoulder width, dropping down nice and slow, using my arms to really help keep me in that upright position and come all the way back up here. What this is gonna do is a couple things. One, it's gonna mimic an exercise that we're doing for our first workout of the day, which is gonna be some belt squats. And number 2, if you're someone who really has issues kind of keeping a more upright posture in a squat, this is a really good way to train it, to actually activate the back a little bit, a lot of those muscles that help keep your spine upright. And so it's actually gonna be a really good way to start training those muscles, but in a way that doesn't overwork them. And lastly, we're gonna do 2 mobility drills, again, to help improve some of the range of motion, make your joints feel nice and loose for the workout here. First one's gonna be a full body one. It's gonna be an incline lunge with a rotation. So plank position here, something that's elevated. Bench will do perfect. Bringing 1 foot up, get a nice stretch of the hip flexor on the opposing side. I'm gonna rotate nice and slow, opening up the chest, also getting a little bit of mobility for the spine, the thoracic spine in the middle. After you hold for a second, you're gonna switch to the other side, and we are gonna do 5 on each side here. Here we go. And last but not least, we're gonna do a modified cat-cow. So traditional cat-cow, if you've ever done some yoga before, basically in kind of what we call this tabletop position where I got my shoulders in line with my wrists, my hips in line with my knees, and I tuck the chin around the back and then kind of arch the back and look up at the ceiling. We already got our bench here, so we're gonna do a little bit of a modified version, can be a little bit friendlier on the wrist. And of course, you can kind of control the movement a little bit better. So if those positions do bother the lower back, this should feel a little bit nicer for you. So again, I'm in this position here. Now I got my hips and my knees stacked. And I'm gonna do the same exact movement, right? Tuck my chin, round my back, kind of bringing my chin into my chest, pushing the bench away from me. And I'm gonna dig my toes in, let my lower back arch, and then eyes up to the ceiling here. And we're gonna do 5 each way for this one. All right, so our first superset, meaning we're doing 2 exercises back to back, we're gonna do a lower body based quad movement and an upper body based back movement. So first one that Chi Chi and I are gonna do here are gonna be some belt squats. Isn't that right, Chi Chi? Belt squats, phenomenal exercise for you to do. Not that loading your back with like a back squat or something where you have a bar loaded over your head or on your back is bad, but if your lower back is kind of aggravated right now, having some weight off of it initially can be good while you kind of recover over time. So the belt squat's really nice because the weight is kind of centered around your hips and you don't really have to worry too much about your upper body. You just kind of have to focus on your legs and putting in the work there. So we're gonna go ahead and get set up for this. Okay, so each belt squat is a little different, but they all pretty much have the same concept here. I'm up on the platform. I got this awesome belt that kind of gets some tension off of my body, right? So it's not kind of grinding into me too much. And then usually there is some kind of chain with a hook on it. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this D-ring here. I'm gonna clip the belt together. That way it is secure onto my body. And then I'm gonna hook myself onto the belt. In terms of where do I put it, it really just depends on your mobility or what you're trying to target. For myself personally, I'm usually on the second or third one, depending on the machine. So I'm gonna start right here in the second one. From there, I'm gonna get my feet nice and flat, right? Just like we did in the warm-up. Notice how it's a very similar position as that assisted squat. I'm gonna stand up, and now the safety's off. Really wanna make sure that this position on your hips, right? It shouldn't be slipping off. It shouldn't be up on your ribs. You're resting nice on the hips here. Fellas, watch out for the boys. You might have to adjust a little bit, make sure you're all set there. And then you got these handles that are sometimes adjustable as well. When you're at the bottom, your hand should be kind of nice and relaxed. Really, you shouldn't be using the upper body too much at all, just to help kind of keep you upright and supported. From here, I'm gonna brace my core nice and tight. Take a deep breath in as I come down. Big exhale as I stand up. Big things that you don't wanna do, of course, here as we do our warm-up set. Just like any squat, I don't want my knees buckling, right? I don't wanna be like that. I don't wanna round the back too much forward. I don't wanna overly arch and have the head up, right? This isn't football where your coach tells you look up, eyes up. I want my eyes slightly down, back relatively flat, hands are relatively relaxed too. So we'll do a couple warm sets here and then we'll get started. All right, so next we're gonna do a lat pull down, specifically a underhand lat pull down. Always nice if you're doing full body to pair opposing muscle groups. Really helps one muscle group work while the other relaxes. So we just did a lot of quads and glutes, primarily quads on the front of your lower body. Now we're doing lats, traps, and a little bit of biceps. So a lot of the posterior side of your upper body. So now my legs can recover while I'm going back and forth and doing my 2-3 sets. For this one, I'm gonna do an underhand grip. So I'm gonna go right at about shoulder width, maybe slightly wider if you got long arms like me. I'm gonna get myself set up here with the knee pads resting comfortably on my thighs like you see here. From here, I'm gonna get a nice full stretch at the top, pull the bar right to the bottom of my chin or top of my chest here, nice and slow. And I wanna get full extension at the top. What I don't wanna do is I don't wanna turn this to an inverted row, right? I don't wanna lean back here, right? If you can't do it where you're completely vertical, might be a little bit too heavy. I don't want to crunch myself in. That's why we have this underhand grip to kind of make it a little bit more prominent where your chest is upright. I want to pull my elbows right down to my hips here. Let's go for a set of about 8 to 12 reps. Okay, second superset now. We're gonna do a single arm landmine press, and then we're gonna pair that with a lateral lunge, a little bit of a variation on it. So landmine's really nice because, again, not that a shoulder press or an overhead press is bad. It's actually a good way to load the shoulders and work the core. And a lot of times when you're pressing directly overhead, you can put a lot of bit of pressure on the back that maybe right now is not comfortable for you. Especially if you're not really confident with your form, where you maybe excessively arch or go forward. it can be just kind of very painful for people as their lower back is healing. So what the landmine does is it allows me to kind of manipulate the angle a little bit to where I'm still working a lot of shoulder, quite a bit of chest and tricep, but now I'm not in this pure overhead position to where my lower back, my mid back isn't working so much to where it's kind of exacerbating in those pain or injury symptoms that you're having. So for this one, we're gonna get into a lunge position, staggered stance, right? I got opposite leg forward, so I'm working my left arm first, right leg's in front, back foot, heel is off the ground, and I got the barbell resting right at the front of my shoulder here. Hand-wise, can either be on the stomach to engage the core or out to the side for balance. That's kind of your preference. You're gonna press straight up, nice, and control back down here. What you don't want to lean into it. You don't want to be so far away that the bar isn't close to you. You want to be nice and stacked right here. Let's go ahead and throw some weight on, do some working sets. All right, and the second exercise we're gonna do with that landmine press is going to be a lateral lunge. Now, traditional lateral lunge, right, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can start with your feet wide, kind of keeping the one leg straight, knee over the toes here. I can step into it, right? There's a lot of variations. For this one, we're gonna do kind of an assisted one, very similar to what we did in the warm-up, where we were holding onto a rail or onto a bench for our squats to help keep that more upright posture. So I'll show you body weight first, how this setup works. So I'm gonna be here, right? Where I have basically, if I'm holding a dumbbell in my hand, other hand is gonna be for support, right? That way, if I'm using a dumbbell, it's not folding me over. I have the support here to keep my chest up nice and tall. And I extend myself and I can push myself all the way back up here. So with a dumbbell, here's how it would look. I'm here, dumbbells in front, chest is up nice and tall, leg is straight, and I'm standing back up every time. Let's go ahead and do 6 to 8 on each side here. And lastly, we're gonna do a core superset. We're gonna do some Supermans and some modified mountain climbers. So Supermans are a really good exercise to work on lower back endurance. Again, there's a tolerance thing to consider, right? If it really bothers your lower back, may not be the time to do this one. But of course, you do want to train the musculature of the back to help strengthen it up over time, so that way it doesn't bother you as much. So for a Superman, how I'm going to do it with my wonderful assistant Chi-Chi here, right, is I'm going to lay on my stomach and I'm going to have my arms starting at about a 90-degree bend here. From here, I'm going to start with kind of my face towards the floor. I'm gonna raise my chest off the ground, squeeze my glutes so my thighs are raised, pause for a moment, and slow back down. Now, one thing we definitely don't wanna do here is just make this a neck exercise, right? I don't just wanna lift my neck up and down. My chin should stay relatively tucked into my chest. What I'm trying to work is my mid to lower back. So I'm pulling my shoulder blades back, squeezing them together, squeezing my butt, and then control back down. We're gonna do for 30 seconds here. Let's go. Last one we're gonna do is a modified mountain climber. I say modified because traditional mountain climber, usually running as fast as you can, driving the knees into the chest. What we're gonna do here is a one step at a time mountain climber. We're gonna add a little bit of rotation to work the obliques a little bit, so we're strengthening the entire core, not just the lower back, not just the front of the abs, the rectus abdominis. I also wanna get my obliques involved a little bit as well. So for this one, traditional plank position here, feet about shoulder width, got my shoulders over my wrist. I'm gonna bring my knee to my opposite elbow, rotate my chest just a little bit, pause for a second, and switch here every time. And that was the workout, everyone. Again, if you're someone who's dealing with lower back pain, really give this workout a try. Of course, always consult your primary care, your physical therapist, whoever you got working on you to help your lower back out. Make sure it's safe for you to exercise. But again, taking these exercises at your own pace can really help you get active and get after it towards your health and fitness goals. And again, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be sure to check out the channels, the daily socials. Y'all know the whole laundry list of things that I always do. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Later.